while we wait for my microphone to come back in, um, I know that you can hear me now. I believe as we wait for the next guest, I was just mentioning my next guest is. Oh, you still can't hear me. Let me see. Somebody in the chat, if you want to throw me a thumbs up, let me know if you can hear me. There you go. All right, Scott. Um, Let me tell you about my next guest. And thanks for looking at my silly face while I talk to you about what's happening today. If you have not yet done so, please subscribe to the link below, youtube.com/allaccesslive with Kevin Rankin. I want to thank my sponsors at 5 Star Guitars, 5 stars based in Beaverton, Oregon. And so there is no sales tax. If you're used to paying for sales tax on guitars and anything outside the area, you can go to youtube.com. I'm sorry, you can go to 5starguitars.com/allaccesslive and hit the promo code below, allaccess15. You'll save 15%, and you'll get a support local, which they've supported me. If you go there and you're able to not only buy guitars and accessories, but you can get repairs, you can get lessons from pros like Jennifer Batten, who has her Guitar Cloud Symposium right now. You can sign up for the next one. She just completed, I believe, her 5th, where they had Steve Lukather as a special guest. She's had Steve Vai in the past. She's had Dweezil Zappa. Incredible, incredible performers. And you can sign up at guitarcloudsymposium.com and let her know I sent you. Now, before we get started with my next guest, who's got his camera upside down, but he's going to fix it in a moment, let me tell you that in 1994, I moved to the Portland, Oregon area, and one of the first drummers I saw blew my mind. I came from Montana. I had no idea what to expect, and this guy had been studying with one of the greatest drummers on the planet, Bruce Carter. He's a 2015 Oregon Music Hall of Fame inductee, and I'm grateful to have him here. If you don't already know, I've got Brian Foxworth. Here he is, upside down. Brian Foxworth, how you doing, man? Hey, I can't hear you. Let's do this. If you can, twist your iPad upside down and see if you can adjust your microphone. Oh, there you go. And I think that did the audio too. Are you there? Yeah, you're there. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm hanging in there. Better now.
Awesome. Man, I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for working through the tech issues to get here.
Hang on real quick.
No sweat. You know, guys in the chat, if you're watching this, Brian can attest to this. A lot of times at the downbeat of a gig, something might be thrown at you last minute where all of a sudden backing tracks have to change or some of the technology gets in the way where all we want to do as drummers is just lay down, pocket, and groove, man. So it makes the extra stress, man, the extra sweat, you know?
Right.
Do you sweat at all, man? You look so effortless whenever you play, brother.
Man, yes, I sweat.
I got to tell, I mentioned just before we got on live that you're a 2015 Oregon Music Hall of Fame inductee. Okay. It's rare for a lot of, I mean, I don't know, people that they're not musicians, they might not realize how difficult it is for a drummer to get those kind of accolades. You know, I think a lot of times it's the lead singer, the guys that write the music, but anybody in this town knows that you are a iconic pivot point in the Oregon music scene, man. You've probably played with hundreds of local artists, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was talking about Salgado a bit ago. That was one of the biggies most recently when you were doing that gig, with a Flock of Seagulls, we played with Huey Lewis, and Huey had said, "Where are you from, man?" I said, "I'm from Portland, Oregon." He said, "Oh yeah, Curtis Salgado's there." I'm like, "Huey Lewis, you know Curtis Salgado?" And he goes, "Dude, he's one of the greatest harmonica players on the planet, man. I got all my stuff from him." And
yeah, Curtis got a lot of Huey Lewis stories.
Yeah, I'll bet he does, man.
Yeah.
But
how he could throw the microphone, they throw the microphone to him across the stage and he catches it right on beat.
Yeah. I've gotten a couple of those with drumsticks, but mostly they're accidents and I make them look like I did it on purpose, you know? So, yeah.
Right.
Hey, man, you know, one thing, you and I talked last week about this show and kind of what the whole scenario was about. I try not to make this sort of interview style, man. I have a ton of respect for you as a player and as a human. You know, your story is important. And if you wouldn't mind letting people know that if they're outside the scene, it might be kind of cool for you to share a little bit of your background, kind of what led you to where you are right now. You want to talk about young drummer Brian Foxworth?
Okay. Young drummer Brian Foxworth. You know, I grew up under Bruce Carter, my godfather. Um, he used to play with Pleasure, play with Kenny G, play with Cameo, play with a bunch of people, and that's why I had to go after school every day. And so firsthand, I got to watch them create all the albums they were writing and everything. So, and then on top of that, growing up in church, you know, so church drumming came, and that was kind of like my learning ground was in church. But then Bruce kind of taught me how to be professional, how to learn songs. This is what you do. Take it to the next level. Not only Bruce, you had Jeffrey Manyweather, you had Mel Brown, Carlton Jackson. I mean, I was kind of surrounded by great Portland drummers. Portland is known for their drummers.
Yeah. You know, I didn't know that when I first moved here. That I learned real quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of great drummers here. You know, my little bro Reinhard Meltz.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Tyrone Hendricks, he's from Oakland, but he lives here, man. Shook, you name it, bro.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on. There's some new cats coming up in this game too. You know, Corey Lamacho, I think that's his last name. Corey, crushing drummer. Machado.
Yeah.
Check it, man. These cats out here, man.
But you know what? I'm glad that you shout those guys out, man, because there's something about this scene that's different than places like LA or New York. There is kind of a brotherhood, right, where guys look out for each other. I don't see people come in with a chip on the shoulder trying to like network up and get some guys out of a gig so they can move in. It seems to me, you know, it seems like people take care of their own here, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's not cutthroat like LA, man. Here, you got to think about it. There's enough work for all of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's such a wide variety of music here in town. You got your cats that can play the Latin. You got your cats that does jazz. Chris Brown.
Yeah, awesome.
Crushing straight ahead drummer.
Yeah.
And then you got your Funketeers, you know, like Ty, Dennis Dove.
Yeah.
You got your church cats, Walter Dean. Man, you name it. So, I mean, there's, like I said, it's just not cutthroat like LA. LA, you see Justin Bieber walk in there, you might go push the drummer off the chair or something.
Yeah.
It's just not that, you know. A lot of cats move to LA to try to make it.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So to try to make it, they're willing to do cutthroat stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you and I both know guys that have moved into LA though with that chip on the shoulder, and try to like get into those gigs where, you know, I mean, personally, I know guys that have come from Berkeley that I knew well that came to LA trying to get gigs by talking other guys down, and they instantly burned a bridge. You know, at that point they're marked, man. And I would imagine that happens here too. But you know, let me ask you, and we don't even have to get into that part yet, man. I was going to ask you. You talked about learning drums in church, so there's the gospel chops before they even called it gospel chops, right? These guys are playing in church that had incredible proficiency, but they learned how to tone back, right? I mean, you've got to play dynamic.
Yeah, it's gospel chops come from shouting. Okay. So I grew up in the Holiness Church, Kojic, what they call it, Kojic drummers. And where it started kind of like Joe Smith. And you hip to Joe Smith?
I'm not hip to Joe Smith, no.
Yeah, he just passed away, but he was like one of gospel's godfather icon drummers for the West Coast.
Okay.
Like Tyrone learned under Joe Smith. I studied under Joe Smith at church. And on top of that, he was one of the world-class bass players on top of that, too.
Okay. Wow. No kidding.
where the gospel chop form is where shouting. So in church, they, as in Kojic church, the black church, they get really happy,
Yeah.
and they get to shouting, and then you do the shout beat and blah and blah and blah and blah. Well, the thing about it, where gospel chops came in, how many licks can you do around that and that and that and that, and
Mm-hmm.
and fit all that stuff in? So then they started getting tracks, shout tracks,
Okay.
and then that allowed the drummers just to really go in. And so back when I was growing up, I'm telling you my age now. Back when I was growing up, I grew up under quartet drummers,
Okay.
quartet groups. Where everybody wear the same color tuxedo
Mm-hmm.
and do that thing. But then that era of shout came in, and then they start using track. So as a professional, you got to keep up with it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to be able to last in this industry and do that, you got to learn all that. So with that being said, now they hire drummers to do that. Marvin Sapp, he has, if Calvin Rogers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, Calvin is one of the godfathers of gospel chops. Yeah,
You know,
and
you,
so on.
you mentioned like Bieber earlier too. I think Tony Royster's got that gig, right? So like, and Royster had kind of moved into the gospel chop thing later on. He was the more funk, cat.
Well,
And
Royster, coming from drum corps.
yeah. Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
His knowledge on drum corps is outrageous.
Did you
Uh,
do did you do drumline stuff back in the day?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. His core playing was, but he started super early.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
therefore, like Dennis Chambers and all them took him under their wings, and Royster bubbled and he stayed on it. And so, because he can bop, he can funk, he can
Yeah.
chop. I heard him play pretty much almost every situation
Yeah.
comfortably.
He's earned every gig that he's gotten for sure, man.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the big part of it, now I'm jumping around. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm going from gospel chops to being able to keep the gig.
Yeah.
He kept straight. Get
Yeah.
what I mean? A lot of cats can fall by the wayside. I'm one of them. There's been plenty of gigs I should have had, and being a young drummer, kind of being a knucklehead, you can lose opportunities.
Yeah.
And I have my share of those.
Are you cool to talk about a little bit of that?
I don't have a problem. I mean,
Well, the reason I ask,
huh?
because the reason I'm asking is half the people that end up watching the show are drummers, right? And the other half are just they're fans of Brian, or they're learning more about Brian. I mean, I could see, like Larry Toering's here. He said, not only are you an angel, but he said your voice too, man. Yeah, you've got the whole package. But before we go into that, these drummers that are watching this, some of them are young, right? They're trying to figure out how to get into not only the scene, but how to hang on to a gig. And
Right.
your story is one that, you hit me to more of your story when we talked about a week ago. And more people need to know about that kind of stuff, because sometimes, man, you not only are you the guy that's sought after for most gigs in town, whether they're looking for a pop drummer or a jazz drummer or a rock drummer, funk guy, everything in between. They know Foxworth, but they know that Foxworth not only has the chops, but that you got your shit together, right? So let's talk about what brought you to that. So
there was a time I didn't have my shit together.
Yeah.
And I was just, some cats can, what's the word? You know how you can get on a gig and your ear is so developed to where you didn't really study the stuff too well, but you can actually pull it off and pretty well and all that.
That's like fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah. And there's some basic rules you can stick to, to get through the gig or get through the song. Outside of studying. Okay, so that can get around. to people. Well, he's a great player, but he just didn't study.
Yeah.
And so you do all the extra stuff to make the gig flashy, and yeah, he's a dope drummer, man. All he got to do is learn the stuff. That gets old after a while.
Sure.
There's so many cats out here that will learn the stuff. Come prepared, be professional, show up on time. If they say 3 o'clock, you there at 2:30, ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and also, growing up in clubs, I've been playing professionally since I was 15 in clubs. Dennis Springer was my first gig, so I was playing a lot of jazz. But then that guy coming from the neighborhood, I made some choices, and it got in the way of my success. I could have had a house gig with Gladys Knight. That's a long story.
Yeah. Well, getting into that, because you talk about Dennis Springer being the first gig, right? You were 15 playing in clubs. So if you're 15 and you're around adults that are kind of having fun, so the partying thing is like one thing, right? I mean, you're 15 making money, right? Doing what you love.
Right. The partying thing, and then kind of grew up around a bunch of pimp players and hustlers.
Yeah.
I mean, I came from a good family. Don't get it wrong, but I just made I made choices.
Sure.
It's all about choices, and that's what I talk to young drummers about: make the right choice. But then the addiction sat in.
You have like family stuff already, or you got the
family stuff.
Yeah.
The alcohol got so intense to the point where I just couldn't handle my business. One thing leads to another, and the opportunity. I could have had a world tour with Sade. They was coming out to look at us, and I was in no position to play. So,
how old were you when those kinds of opportunities first started coming your way?
I was in my early mid-20s.
Okay,
right.
And I mean, your name was around here, right? So people knew Foxworth, but how did the
I was out here, but everybody kind of knew me as Bruce Protege, or the new guy coming up from the neighborhood that could play multiple styles,
Yeah. Were you singing then too?
Yeah, I grew up in the church. I grew up in a small church. My father was a pastor, so I had to help sing, and my mother was a singer, in the church. Most of my family could sing, so that was kind of part of it. And Linda Hornbuckle, my aunt, I played with her. I did like 3 albums with Linda, but she put a mic in front of me a lot and kind of pushed me. Her and Janice Stroggins.
Wow.
Yeah, Janice Stroggins would send me Donny Hathaway tunes, Stevie Wonder tunes, and learn this, learn that,
That at an early age.
Early years, right?
Yeah, right on, man.
Right. So it kind of took away the stage fright, and alcohol played a role in that too.
Really?
I needed the alcohol to take away the stage fright, to get that liquid courage.
How old were you when you started drinking?
Oh man. 19.
Okay. Yeah,
I started early.
Well, I mean, you think about it, right? I mean, you're 4 years into clubs by that point, right? You're playing in front of people around adults. And, because we talked Bieber earlier, right? When you think about young musicians, especially if they're thrown into like a successful situation where they don't have mentors like Brian Foxworth now saying, hey, man, you know what? If you steer clear of that stuff, you're going to have a lot longer, a lot more opportunities and a lot longer career, choice. But if you didn't have that between 15 and 19, of course you're going to fall into that stuff, right? I mean, that's just the natural thing.
I mean, some people do, some people don't. Some people learn the lesson. I mean, they have addiction in their family, and so I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that person. And then on top of that, I took playing serious but then I kind of didn't. You know what I mean? I knew
Coasting.
how to play drums and sing.
You're
I knew how to
coasting.
fit in any situation. But actually, like, take it to the next level. Those opportunities came, and some worked out, some didn't. You know.
So how did, like you mentioned Sade and like when gigs, you said early 20s, when those kind of things started coming your way, were you getting recommended for those things, or how did you sort of break into that next level?
How I got recommended for those gigs, because I would go out on the road, and other drummers, you would see them in other places. That's how, seen them
Yeah.
in New York, or LA. And these drummers, they play for these national artists, and they're like, man, who are you?
Yeah.
Where you from? And so I'm the new guy in the area around town they never heard of, who, maybe I could recommend this gig for him. And so drummer named Pete, I forget his last name, but he was playing with Sade at the time before he was going to VH1 Divas.
Oh wow.
uh
Nice.
Sounds of Blackness. And so I remember he was looking for drummers and possibly pass the chair down. So when they came to Portland the first time over at the Coliseum, I was playing at the Red Lions right across the street. It was perfect.
Yeah.
The situation didn't work out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to push you to anything you don't want to talk about, but those kind of things, man, we've all had gigs that we've blown. I mean, I think everybody that's played professionally has had a gig where they look back and they think, oh man, if I could do it over again, right?
Oh yeah.
And
No. I mean, I got 3 wonderful kids. I got a wife. I'm buying a house. We're buying a house. My mother's here. So there's a couple of things a little bit more important to me.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I survived a lot of that.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's jump.
My situation, I should be doing life in prison or dead.
Why is that, man?
Well, it's just getting caught up in the hustling. Like I said, I'm from the neighborhood. I'm just telling the guy from the neighborhood, but you couldn't take the neighborhood out of me, and that transpired. So many stories of that. Again, it was just, I was hard headed.
Well, okay, man, you got kids now.
Really take it serious like I should have. But, and then a lot of the situations was discouraging. When I was out there touring with Glass Chunk rock band, we was out there with like Scorpions doing all that.
Wait a minute, you were with Glass Chunk with Calvin Beatty?
The original drummer from Glass Chunk.
Calvin Beatty?
Calvin Bailey.
Oh my God, I had no clue.
Tom Noons. Yeah, I did.
Wow.
That's me in the video Frenzy.
No kidding.
Don't watch it though.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, man. I mean, I don't think there's a style that I haven't seen you play, but yeah, I had a Calvin Beatty era as well, But,
okay.
But man, yeah. So when you're out in that scene too, I know what follows in that environment. The crazy thing is you get caught up in that next level, right? You're playing arenas at that point, right? I mean, good sized theaters for sure. And, and if you came from the hood and you're like that guy that, gets the call for the next level up gigs, you can live, you feel like you got to live next level. In our minds, when you're young, right, that's what it means to play at that level. Right. I've talked about on this show, one of the things that changed me early on, I was actually really afraid of the party scene. My dad had the gene, I had it from everywhere. So I didn't drink or party, but I went to see Chick Corea play in Montana back when I was like 16, 17, right when I started to play drums. And I freaked out. It's the first time I saw Weckel, and I was like, holy shit. And I ran backstage. I talked to him. We went to this venue afterwards, the hotel, and he sat and talked to me while my dad waited for me, and he said, do you party? And I thought he was asking me. And I said, no, man, I'm not into that. He goes, no, good. I wanted to tell you, if you want to play drums for a living, there's no way you're going to get to my age and still be able to do that stuff and be successful. And I was like, look at this guy. I was just about 17. And then he wrote me a letter afterwards. It was just crazy, just like transcribed stuff and sent me info. But to me, I I mean, I'm 50 years old now, right?
Right.
34 years later, I remember every bit of that. And the advice that he gave me, I don't know if it necessarily changed the direction of where I went, but I've never forgotten it. And had I been, a little bit farther to one side, I might have gone down a road that was even more destructive. I had my destruction, believe me, man. I mean, I did. Now, for you, going through that phase, you mentioned you should be dead or in prison. At the days that you were sort of doing that kind of stuff, your uncle was chief of police, right?
My brother.
Oh, it was your brother. Oh my God, man. So how's that? I mean, were you pretty open about just your lifestyle? And he was.
No, well, when I was incarcerated, he was up on the 15th floor. I'm down on the 13th floor, and we didn't communicate. I was out here, bro, and ain't no shame in my game. I mean, I did it all. And they were building a case on me. I was playing with Andy Stokes at the time, and I was doing a bunch of hustling and not in my right mind. And I started seeing trucks, Channel 2 trucks, and and then the club owner came up to me and said that there's undercover cops in here asking about you. And I can recognize them. They wasn't drinking, they drinking water.
Yeah.
And people, when you used to playing like the candlelight, you know everybody.
Right.
And I'm starting to see a lot of people I didn't know. So make a long story short, I turned myself in. My brothers told me, yeah, go get yourself in there building a case on you. And so when I did that, um, Judge Wilson sent me to Eastern Oregon. I lived in Hermiston.
Okay.
And so how I did my year in the day there, I had to live with my PO. And so that's the only way. And I worked a job from Monday through Friday. Didn't turn myself in on Friday through the weekend, holiday. And I did that for a year today. And one of the stipulations she did, now this is a cold shot. She said, if he's to touch a drumstick, you violate him.
Oh my God.
So if I go to the church up there trying to change my life, do something different.
Yeah.
If I touch the drumstick, man, my PO can throw cuffs on me.
Wow.
So she took my passion away from me.
Oh
and
man.
that hit me crazy, because I've always been that guy. Like, I can bounce back. This is what I do. This will make me feel good. I'm a drummer, and I'll bounce back. I'll be all right. No, she made a really good example. When that happened, when I got off paper, I did a year and a day, did that. Then I did a year of getting off paper, getting all my stuff expunged. When I got back to Portland, man, I played 7 nights a week from that time up until this pandemic.
Oh man.
I got out over 18 years ago.
In 18 years, I would imagine you've been able to kind of look back as a dad now, right? And think, all right, I got a lot of chapters in my book. I mean, the Brian Foxworth book is probably half written right now, right? And the chapters you've got in there were overcoming some pretty heavy adversity. As a dad, having that experience is probably the best wisdom that you could pass down to them, right? I mean, they've seen dad probably.
Well, I mean, it didn't stop there. I just kind of I got freed up, but then I was still in my addiction.
I lost your audio for a second. You got me there, buddy? I can't hear you yet. I can't hear you yet. Oh, lost video. All right, got you there. Any chance for the farthest left little button on the left that maybe that little microphone? See if that guy got muted. And this is I'm going to mention while Brian's like getting the audio figured out, one of the things that he and I share in common is, you get caught up in the live touring scene where it's not just about trying to fit in. It gets to be a grueling thing. And even though you're doing absolutely everything you love, you tend to use, substance as a coping mechanism. So if for some reason you guys can relate to this, while he's getting this squared away, I'm going to put this link down below. There's a phone number there for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. There's a crisis line. I talk quite a bit about depression and substance abuse on the show. If you take that number down and you've got any desire to talk to somebody else about this, it's important to reach out. You're not alone. When you're playing music and you're trying to do this thing professionally and you get caught up in the use, you kind of feel like you're the only one in the middle of it, and you're also you might wear that as a badge without wanting to ask for help. There's nothing weak about asking for help, so use this phone number and reach out. Let me see if we can get Brian's audio back here again. Nothing yet. But you want to try and just dial back in that same number. And while we wait on that too, I was going to see, I noticed in the chat, we've got a lot of questions for you here. So Kathleen Menges asked if you played at Rose of Sharon. So we'll see when he comes back. Hey, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity too to tell you guys that if you come back tomorrow, it's a little bit earlier tomorrow, but noon Pacific, I've got Stella Parton. That's Dolly Parton's sister. Her little sister, who's an incredible singer on her own. She's got a record label, and she'll be here at 12 o'clock noon. So 3 o'clock Eastern, if you're elsewhere and you want to hear this dynamic woman. She's fiery, just like Dolly, and she's got a crazy story. She's done 1 million duets with her sister, and she's also very active in causes. And so I think we're going to kind of run the gamut of all that stuff. In the meantime, next week, I've got some great guests as well. Thursday next week, I really want to spotlight somebody that I grew up with in Montana when we were in junior high and high school. Our parents were both art teachers, and he has become a visionary working with Virgin, Richard Branson, and a lot of other large corporations to build think tanks for visionaries. So trying to solve the world's problems, finding astrophysicists and biologists and animal rights activists, and put all of those people together into big think tanks to make a difference and allow you to make a difference where you are. So that's Thursday, Yarrow Craner. If you go to accesskevin.com, you can see archives of the previous shows. And if you subscribe to the channel, you can look back at the, I believe, 180 episodes so far of this show since last May. And if you subscribe, you'll get notified when I've got these new guests. So I've been doing them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and we've got a lot of guests coming up, booked through June. We've almost got Brian here. It looks like we've got him there, but no video or audio just yet. So B-Fox, I'm hanging on, just hoping we can get you back. Because that was good stuff, man. I hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you now, just no video. Yeah, that should be me. I got the face for radio, man. I shouldn't be seen. You have a little button there next to the microphone that shows your video?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think we're going to get you. Let's see.
Right.
I see BF. I could put a still photo of you up there, but technology, man. This is the second set, right? We get back up and they throw some backing tracks at you.
Right, totally. You guys got to unplug your earphones and just continue on playing.
That's it, man. Yeah, kill the click.
What's going on? Let's see here. Well, anyway, if you can hear me.
I can. Yeah, man. We can. You were at a really great point right there where you were talking about. You said, you got out. You did. I love Year in a Day. Sounds to me like a blues song. So I'm hoping you put that into some sort of, production. But and then you got a paper. But you said you were still kind of hung up in it a little bit.
Say it again.
You mentioned that you were still kind of hung up in it a little bit after that.
Well, not on paper. It's just the addiction.
Yeah.
I got back right into playing, and then I didn't follow a program.
Okay.
See, I just went in.
Yeah.
I got inside and got incarcerated, but I didn't work a program. So then I worked a program after that. So then when I came out, I'm back playing 7 nights a week. Got out on tour with Curtis. All the above. Before I got incarcerated, I was out on the road with Rubberneck, Glass Chunk, a bunch of different other bands, Linda,
Yeah.
and everybody. So after that era, um, came back into town, and my situation, like I said, I kind of went back partying.
Okay.
Without the hustling. You get what I mean?
I do.
I'm not doing that no more, but I still have me a cocktail, and then this is that business.
Yeah.
Every night when I play, even now, they're like, "Well, man, what you drinking?" Nothing. You don't want me to drink, bro. You don't want to see me on alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't do it well. So, and that challenge comes nightly. Make a long story short, so out on tour with Curtis and my daughter wrote me. My daughter wrote me a goodbye letter, and that was the turn of okay. Like my kids expecting me to die in this disease, in this addiction, and so we were out on tour, went to Vegas, playing the Blues Bender with Curtis, Southern Brotherhood, Buddy Guy, all these people on the gig, and I was a house drummer for. They have a house drummer for when they do the grand finale or whatever, with all the artists come up.
Okay.
Man, and I kicked cold turkey in a casino.
Hmm.
I walk, where you get free drinks, all the above.
Right.
This the Blues Bender. Man, I was done, and that was going on 8 years in September. And man, I sat there.
Was the letter? Was that the kind of the pinpoint?
That was the beginning of either I'm gonna die doing this or I'm gonna get it right. And
Right.
bro, my wife put me on a plane the night before. I wasn't gonna go. I was just gonna throw it all away. And my wife said, either you go, or if you don't go, you're gonna die. Up and man, I thought about that. She threw me on the plane. Kramer knows about this. And Harris, Brian Harris was my roommate at the time, and I don't know if he's listening, but I want to apologize to him today because he watched me kick this cold turkey through it all. The third day, I got up. After going downstairs, play, eat something, get emotional. The third day, I went out on the strip. I walked down the strip and just prayed. Man, I prayed because I felt like I just still wanted to die. And man, I found a church that had Narcotics Anonymous on it.
Mm.
Yeah, and this manager, his name is Albie, and he's manager for Robert Craig at the time.
Okay.
Or I don't think he was doing Robert Craig at that time, but he just finished doing Robert Craig, being the manager. And man, he welcomed me in there, bro, and I've been in those rooms ever since.
Man, that is one of those kind of miracle stories, right? Because at this point, a lot of people have realized that there are opportunities like that out there, recovery programs where, again, I mentioned earlier, you're not alone, right? You've got there's a brotherhood, there's a fellowship, right, where men and women all over the planet every day are dealing with that. And
most definitely, I talk. Man, you would not believe how many people I talk to about it because they see like, man, you're doing so good. You play anytime. I got back to playing 7 nights a week, but I had my sponsor come to my gigs every night. I played with Gary Fontaine. I started playing with musicians that was in the program, and it really helped me. So, a lot of people, they see the story, they see the glory, but they didn't understand the story behind it.
Absolutely, man.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Honestly, the fact that you're able to share this is really
Right.
important for a lot of people. This is
Right.
not to sensationalize what happened. This is to, to sort of point the spotlight at where that stuff can get away from you real easy,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it too, man, is who you surround yourself with, right? And
Yeah, it's who you surround yourself with. Don't beat yourself up. Like I used to beat myself up, like, excuse my language, but I used to get the fuck it.
yeah,
I, I didn't get this gig. I could have had this gig with such and such, and oh, I didn't get this gig. Man, fuck it.
yeah,
Do me, whatever.
yeah,
No. Stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay hungry. You
yeah,
I live by the motto: the race is not given to the swift and the strong, but the one who endure to the end. And I know uh, one of my drum students, he played with Baby Bash, Curtis Bird, man,
wow,
down in LA. And man, perfect example, man. I watch him really couldn't, got behind the kid. He was playing percussion. He loved drum. He was 21 at the time. And, I was working with him. I was teaching him. Actually, my first student, you know. Um, and then he was so hungry, man. He would be at my house like every other day, man. I want to do this, that. Finally, make a long story short, I said, bro, move to LA. Man, you have no kids. You're not married, bro. You don't have nothing holding you down. And that dude went down there. He was playing with Snoop Dogg, Baby Bash,
wow.
man, you name it. Then he came up with his own percussion company that makes almost 15 grand a month.
What really, man? Oh,
Yeah,
that's you know,
you need to talk. You need to talk to Curtis Bird. He would love talking to you, bro.
yeah, man. I mean, what's great is like Tyrone's right here in chat, man. I'm glad to see you here too. He says, "B Fox, my hero."
Who's
Uh,
that?
Tyrone Hendricks, baby. Yeah,
Oh, that's my bro. Oh my,
yeah.
I'm
I'm a
telling.
huge fan of him too. He probably didn't even know that I sent him messages on Facebook trying to get him on the show as well. So Tyrone, check your messages, man. One thing, Brian, you probably remember this. Early on in the pandemic, I hit you, Tyrone, Dove, Reinhardt, a handful of drummers around here that I knew had, we all got faced with this identity crisis when the pandemic came. You
Mhm.
mentioned before, man, during your probation that you couldn't touch a drumstick. That's taken away every ounce of Brian Foxworth identity, right? Where you've got to all of a sudden become somebody that you're not for a while. And
Well, yeah, but
I,
it lesson. I mean, it's
I,
hardcore. I mean, to anybody else, like, man, that's hardcore. That ain't cool. But bro, to this day, I thank her.
sure. I mean,
I,
that's what you had to do.
right, because we get so comfortable in just like, well, I'll be all right. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
or I won't get caught. You get caught up in that to where finally it's all gone.
yeah,
Everything you get stripped, and sometimes that's the best lesson. You know,
absolutely, man. I mean, honestly, it's hard for me to find a whole lot of silver linings in the pandemic. But when
right?
I was reaching out to you guys, I was thinking a lot about where we all had our identity taken away, right? I mean, for me, I wear a bunch of hats, man. I'm a dad first.
Yep.
I got a web business. I've been a drummer, and it's funny because they kind of, even though they all overlap, when I'm out on the road with the band, I'm Kevin Rankin, the drummer, right?
Yeah.
Heavy metal to those guys, right?
Right.
And when all that stuff goes away, you've got family, essentially with the bands you're playing with, you're out there every day, all around each other 24 hours a day. When that stuff just dries up and the world stops, all of a sudden you got to figure out who you really are, right? And whether that identity represents everything about you or
Yep.
if a part of you has to be sort of tucked away for a while.
Right.
And you were one of the first guys I saw that was actually starting to be able to play again. Right? You were getting gigs where you're like on a barge out in Lake Oswego, and
Right.
doing these cool gigs where at least you could be socially distant and play. And I was so excited for you, man, because
Yeah. And caught COVID.
oh shit, that's yeah,
At
okay.
that or Lake Oswego. I'm not saying no
That was
names.
the gig.
That was the gig.
Oh no, man. Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I was glad that you were getting the opportunity to play, but yeah, man. I mean, that's another thing too, right? We as musicians, we're kind of responsible for some part of people's health. Like there was that gig where you got your first shot, And you know, I got to sub on your gig, man, with Fontaine.
Right.
But I stayed way back away from everybody because I was really meticulous about making sure my kids were wearing masks and we were staying away from everybody and just
Right.
playing it safe. And then Dad goes off to do this gig, so I'm like, all right, I want to do this gig, but I'm not gonna, you know, be hanging at people's tables and not. And dude, I'm a hugger, right? So it's hard for
Yeah.
me, especially not to hug Fontaine, right? Man, I love that guy. He's like a brother,
Right.
you know. But when you had an opportunity to get out there and play, and it's your livelihood, and then you get COVID, which is like the worst case scenario. Thank God you're okay now, right? I mean, you got your
Yeah. I mean,
second shot yesterday.
got my second shot. Yes, that's why I feel loopy. That's probably why I'm jumping around subjects.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna tell you something.
yeah.
The pandemic taught me something. It
Okay.
taught me to do some self-care.
How so?
So, well, because all I did was play. Monday night, Mekon Bistro. What was I playing Tuesday night? Golly. Tuesday night rehearsal. Wednesday night at Spirit. Thursday night, let's see, what was I playing? We're at Gemini. Friday night. Saturday morning, play church. Saturday night, play wherever. Sunday morning, play church. Sunday night, play Spirit. Back at it Monday. And when the pandemic sat us down, you know, self-care came in, man. Certain things I started thinking about, a lot of stuff I needed to do around the house, take care of the house, even though I needed the money, you know, don't get me wrong, but self-care became important to the point where, you know, yeah, I'm getting gigs, get called for these gigs. Tyrone can understand that. We put these band together because that's how we work. You know, you really, a lot of the time, not really getting the call, but we manage these bands. I manage 5 bands right now.
Really? No
You
kidding.
know, I got Gold Experience, PDX Side Hustle, 5 Grand, uh, Vintage Soul. We got Bayou Boys, Atomic Gumbo. I mean, man, you know, these is all bands that we started.
Okay.
And so with the pandemic, man, it just really started. The self-care sat in. I started eating good because I wasn't out in fast food, eating in the club, you know,
Yeah.
all the fried food and everything. Things kind of turned around. And then I caught on because I wasn't so busy. I got the recording gear at home. So I did about 4 or 5 albums just from home.
Oh my God.
And Pastor Mondu, recorded with Willie Barber, all these little knickknacks here and there. And so that became, you know, my finances. You know what I mean?
Good.
So I'd never really caught on to that until now, to the pandemic. Now I'm all set up. I wish I could show you this camera thing. Man, I'm telling you, man, that's another thing at this age, trying to learn all this technology.
Yeah, man. You know, and honestly, we did our test earlier and it worked out fine, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And just like a gig, man, something goes wrong with the track, pull the earbuds out. You just got to keep rolling, man. And
Yeah.
you know, Tyrone says here in the chat, we need you to write a book, bro. This is kind of what I'm talking about, man. I mean, the chapters in B Fox's book, I mentioned, you know, they're probably half written, right? You've got early days Brian Foxworth, like learning the sort of the ways of professional gigs, going through all the speed bumps of adolescence and trying to figure out how to, you know, cope with substance and that environment, people you're around,
Right.
going through trouble, overcoming trouble, becoming a dad, figuring out what's important. You know, once you figure out what's really important to you, which is maybe this mid phase, right, where the pandemic showed you something. Let's talk about where Brian Foxworth goes with that. I mean, talk about self-care. You were doing some self-care earlier today, man. You got poked again today, right?
And I had acupuncture today. You know, I got a lot of football injuries. I broke my neck in high school playing football my sophomore year. And so now I'm 53. My neck didn't heal correctly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I got, you know, I have to do that. So I'm going to a chiropractor now. So they doing they doing all kind of stuff, man. They have me twisted up, and I heard so many cracks today, man. But I got the sciatica nerve plant, you know, going down my leg to where it almost make you play pocket, you know, boom, bat, boom, because if you do boom, boom, cat, boom, boom, boom. That hurts.
Yeah, that's man.
Yeah,
Is it your left
nerve
leg?
there that give you all that extra stuff. No.
That left leg?
That right leg,
Oh, it's
bro.
your right leg. Okay.
Yeah, my pedal foot.
Oh
And on top
man.
of that, I got 2 plates and 8 screws in that ankle. You know, so
Oh,
yeah.
those are
About that, we was doing. I was playing with Keegan Smith at the time, and Ty came in, and man, I broke my ankle, and Ty came through, man, and yeah, man, it's the self-care.
well. I mean, honestly, that's a really important thing. I talk to people on this show a lot about legacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to know if Brian Foxworth got to the end of his days where your time is up, man. Like the Brian's 100 years old. He's looking back on his life, and you can reflect on the things that were really important to you. What do
Yeah.
you feel like you want to be known for?
What do I want to be known for?
Tell me Brian's legacy.
I don't know. Just Brian was a cool guy. Brian showed love. Um, I'm always joking.
Yeah.
After the big party, I like going to comedy clubs and stuff like that. I grew up with my dad. My biological father was funny, but he
Yeah.
was drunk and cuss everybody out. That ain't my thing. But I'm just known for just being cool. I
Yeah.
guess I'm gonna play drums until I die or
Yeah.
until I can't.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not here to impress nobody. Like I said, everybody got their thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, when there's a certain sound that everybody has, and they get hired for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. As far as leaving a legacy, I hope I contribute to that.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
again, I mean,
Well, tell me about some guys.
I take some other things a little bit more serious than trying to get out there on tour. You know, uh, all the above. I thought about doing like a little record or something. I just my focus is different. I
Yeah.
don't know why, and it just is.
What's the perfect gig? What's the perfect Brian Foxworth gig?
What is the perfect Brian Fox gig?
Yeah.
You talking about like right now?
Yeah. I mean, if something came along today, where
who would I like to play with if it came along?
Yeah, even alive or dead, man. If somebody's like passed away, but you think, oh, that would have been the right gig for me, lifelong gig.
Good question. I don't know, like George Duke.
Oh yeah.
Who's definitely one of my all-time heroes that can play in any situation too.
Yeah.
Parliament Funkadelic. I've always been Funketeer.
Yeah.
Have
you played a Bootsy?
Too. I've been on the road when we was with Rubberneck. We opened up for Fishbone and Parliament.
Oh God, yes, man.
And man, I don't think I ever been that high.
Yeah.
And it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
I've never done mushrooms before until that weekend, man. And I thought the clouds was running into the freeway. And I ran out the truck. I ran out the tour van and ran around in a circle. I would have lost my mind. But as far as influences of always been a dream thing for me, would be Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah. Oh man.
Like that,
So tasty. I mean, just that stuff.
I think I'm an old hippie like that. So.
Yeah. It's funny because I talk a lot about guilty pleasures. People that know Brian Foxworth, what would they be surprised to find out about you? You mentioned you're an old hippie, but like if like Tyrone, he knows you well. Brian Harris, he knows you well. But what would people be surprised to find out about you?
Oh, about Brian Foxworth?
Yeah.
That if I invite them to my church, if I became a minister, they like, bro, you're preaching? I'll be a different kind of preacher.
Yeah, I bet you would, man. I'll bet. I'd love to see that though.
Right. That's the thing. That's what it is. If anything you want to surprise somebody about Brian Foxworth, let him become a preacher.
Yeah. Is that something that might happen?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. You know, you can just sermon from right there behind the kit, man. You know.
Yeah, I like to raise tips too well,
Yeah.
too big. So that would be a big part of my ministry.
That. Well,
I'd rather not do it. So.
yeah, yeah. I it would be fun, man, to come and just see you at church, though. I'd love to do that. Are you guys doing in person yet, or are you still doing virtual?
No, well, out in Lake Oswego, I play another church, and we do. It's packed, but the regulations are different out there.
Sure.
But over here in Multnomah County, we just streaming.
Okay. Yeah.
Praise team, we just stream, and until they open up. But other than that, I mean, it's nothing. It ain't like going to TD Jake's church or nothing. We ain't going in like that.
Okay.
I
want to see you stomping, man. That would be fun.
Yeah, anybody's wig falling off or nah, I grew up in that, but that's not happening now. Too many people, they're just too conservative.
Yeah, we got to go outside Portland for
right.
that. Yeah.
God doesn't act like that. So.
Do you ever go when you're out on the road? You mentioned kicking cold turkey in Vegas. I had an interesting experience in New Orleans, man. I mean, as you know, New Orleans could be a party town, right?
Oh man, New Orleans blurred for me.
It was my 4th birthday. Went down on Bourbon Street, found myself a meeting in the French Quarter, actually.
Okay.
And hit a meeting, and it was in this old historic church. It was crazy. It was beautiful, man, and a lot of people with a lot of time and real solid human beings. But I thought, how great would that be? I mean, I can imagine being on the road and dropping into a church there, right? I mean, you watch some guys down in like Louisiana, right? Mm-hmm. Like just stomping. That'd be a good time,
Man, my uncle James Felter is one of the founders of Church of God in Christ, and he opened up Church of God in Christ United.
Okay.
So I came up under that, but I hated New Orleans to the fact that I used to have to go every year because that's where my mom and they're from.
Okay.
They're from the South. I'm the only one born here in Portland.
Really?
Right. So all my brothers and sisters, everybody from the South. They're from Mississippi, New Orleans, wherever. My mother from Baton Rouge.
Okay.
All the above. Make a long story short, every time I would go to New Orleans, I just hated it until I went on tour and played there. And like I said, it's a blur,
Yeah.
But Charmaine Neville pulled my coattail. She's like a sister to me.
Really?
She helped me through a lot of things. I met her in New Orleans, and then she come here to Portland and play with Reggie Houston. And I used to be in a band called Michael Quimby, Reinhardt, Damian Erskine. I play percussion, and I was lead singer.
Wow.
Yeah, Popcorn. I've been in so many bands, I forget.
I know it, man. I was just gonna
say. Roseland Hunters.
Okay.
Yeah, we did one album, and everybody became stars except me after that. So.
Yeah, dude. No, I would say, we talk about legacy. You're never going to be a star to your kids, right? No matter how big you get, right? But I mean, in a different way, right? Your kids see you, doing your laundry at home and, washing dishes and that kind of thing. So you're never going to be the ultimate star, but everybody outside knows that B Fox is rock star as you get, man.
Well, I mean,
not in attitude, but in stature.
Absolutely not. I'm over humble. Yeah. People say, man, you a legend. And you know what? I just did what I did. I grew up around cats who are legends, and they didn't take it like that.
Right.
Bruce never acted, even though he done play with, I mean, you hear a lot of old rap albums, Bruce's drumming is on there, but Bruce will sit there and play baseball with you. I mean, I've never been exposed to the big head part of it.
Yeah.
Even
like out opening, I mean, like as a performer playing with other bandmates, you weren't exposed to it?
Oh man.
Yeah, you don't have to burn any bridges, man. It's all good.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I was just never that dude.
Yeah.
I just like whatever, it's cool. If it's cool, I mean, if it happened, it's cool. If not, all right, whatever. It ain't. So,
Man,
I was never that, look at me and even though I've done some stuff.
yeah. That makes it better.
You get drunk enough, you do something crazy.
Yeah. No. I love that JD popped in here just now. JD, Jimmy Max was a staple for you. Yeah. He says, "My brother to you, man." I love that JD comes on here when I've got cats that were kind of staples there at Jimmy Max. Damien was on a little bit ago, and I just love that cat too, man. Playing with him makes me a better drummer.
Who's that? Oh, Damien.
Damien Erskine and Fontaine, both of those guys make me a better drummer. And they're different guys completely stylistic, but JD has this perspective, man, where he gets to know everybody in that scene, and I just love that he's so supportive. Think about how jaded people get. Yeah, JD.
Bro, JD turned me on to stuff that I didn't even know about as a musician.
Really? All right.
He was like, man, I mean, I've been playing Jimmy Max. I've been around JD for years. Yeah. I worked as a dishwasher at Jimmy Max before.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when it was across the street from the new spot.
Yeah.
And so JD would be like, bro, listen to this. Go hear this person. And bro, JD would turn me on to old school funk stuff that I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
Just part of my upbringing on learning tunes and all that. So I got to thank JD a whole lot.
You hear that? Yeah, listen to that. He says, you're a big time part of our history, which is great. I mean, you've earned fans the right way, B-Fox. I mean, really, you think about what you've been through and coming out the other side, even like now, right? Doing these gigs, you get COVID, you can say with experience what to avoid, and you're not spouting, I mean, from experience what's up. When things clear up a little bit, I mean, you're fully vaccinated now as of yesterday, right? So you got a couple weeks out, and then you'll be ready to be kicking. Do you feel like you'll be out there 7 nights a week again, just or 7 days a week?
Nah, you know what? I can't say whether I will be or not, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm being very selective.
Good.
On playing right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, the pandemic showed me something. The pandemic showed me how to chill.
Yeah.
That was another thing. I get by myself to the point, and I'm not busy. They always say that, idle mind is the devil's playground.
Right.
And I get afraid of stuff like that. But until that pandemic came and bro, got through it, didn't relapse. My anxiety was out the roof. It did that. But I just learned a whole nother way, and I could sit in my room. I'm cool. I'm not really hurting for nothing, man. God is good. Before the pandemic, I would just take any gig, I don't care if it's on the back of a truck.
Yeah.
To pay a certain amount,
Yeah.
Okay, what time it start? They got drums there? Cool. No?
Yeah.
All right, I know what to bring. What we playing? And I was such in a routine just doing that.
Sure.
Night by night. And that was my comfort zone. But now my comfort zone is different.
Yeah.
So no. I mean, I'm booked up though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still I got every other Tuesday I'm playing Alberta Street. I'm keeping my Mondays open. I got a couple bands I'm start rehearsing, get back in there. But I actually kind of like chilling. I like watching, All Rise or The Bull,
Yeah.
My program's on Monday.
Okay.
So I like chilling, man. This weekend, I didn't, I got called for gigs, but man, I just wanted to chill at home. I got church. I'm not going overboard. I'm not being too,
You feel like you're clear.
I'm gonna try to fit this gig in after church. We get out of church at 1. I'm gonna try to fit one in between 3 and 6, and then try to get ready to go play somewhere at 7 o'clock or 8.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore. I was burning it like that, and I didn't play well. If I play all day like that, man,
stretched too thin.
Yeah. I don't play well. And now when I take some days off or I relax my muscles and all that, I go play. It's kind of cool, you know. I feel good. I feel like the purpose, like, okay, I'm behind the drum set now. I'm feeling all right. Not that I have to, you know.
Yeah.
Like I had to do it. I don't have to do that, you know. I like to just, if it was open, I'll go enjoy watching everybody else play.
Yeah.
So laugh and talk shit, and you know, that's what we do. And that's another thing about the drummers around here, bro. We don't really talk about drumming and, well, man, how do you do a 30-second note?
Right.
And man, your paradiddles is off the chain. No, we talk shit to each other. Like, you know, me and Ty, all we do is laugh.
Yeah.
We laugh. JD, we talk shit. So
I love that, man.
That's where I'm at.
That, you know, I mean, I was just going to say, when you were talking about recognizing how important it is to kind of take it easy, a big fan of yours, and certainly somebody that I held so high in my regard, Tim Ellis. You know, you worked with him a bunch.
Yeah.
Tim was that guy, dude, that would pack in so many gigs in a day. You know, in 7 days, he'd somehow figure out how to do 30 days worth of work. And, you know, and he'd be, you know, downbeat to 7, he'd show up at 6:59, throw the pedal board down. He's on stage playing the gig. And then the gig's over at 9. By 9:15, he's on another gig, you know? And he did that till the very end. I mean, he played, you know, his, you know, fundraiser. And ran the studio.
Right.
And, you know, was music director at the, you know, several churches. But the thing is, I would bet, man, if we had Tim back around, if we were able to sit down with him and say, would you slow down a little bit? You know, if you knew that you just had a couple years left, would you slow down enough? Because he had a lot of kids. I think he had 6 children. And, you know, I just watched his documentary. His daughter put together a documentary for him. It was incredible, man. But I know that the kids would have liked to have had dad around more, you know? And I would bet now, Brian Foxworth figuring out how to slow things down a little bit, your family probably really appreciates to get to see a little more B Fox too, you know?
Well, and I look at it like this, man. I didn't survive that. I didn't survive all that for nothing to not be an example to somebody. Kind of find out I'm an example to my kids because now I'm able to help my kid. My dad was always the kind of guy, my biological father, either be good or be good at it. So if you're going to do something, if you're going to smoke weed or if you're going to drink, don't put your drink down, go to the bathroom, come back and drink it. That's stupid, you know? You don't smoke weed with just anybody. And so the thing about it, which knowing that, learning the game and knowing all the above stuff, and then I got through it, man, I was basically helping my kids through, you know, because they know what it's about. You see me and my addiction.
Yeah.
Man, why you want to, you know, choose that? So that's what I feel like I kind of survived all that to be able to help my kids.
You know, man.
And it's not over, you know.
Of course not. You're halfway there.
So they grown women,
and
you know, they entrepreneurs, you know, so they do company parties with their own product, you know, they own. One does nails. She can make your nails look like a lava lamp.
Oh yeah,
Do
I need that done?
All that, bro. The Cardi B's and everything. Like Cardi B loves her nails, and my other daughter, she's a clothes designer, and then my oldest daughter, she does animation.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, I want you to do me a favor. The daughter that wrote you that letter, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to hug her. I want you to tell her how much everybody out here appreciates the fact that she let dad know where dad needed to be. And I know that your wife was a huge supporter in your recovery. I'm so glad, man, that you were able to come out the other side and be an example for us all, man. You know?
Yes, sir.
Bobby, you know, the chat, Bobby Pilata, Kathleen Menges, a lot of people here are, they're big fans. Gary Fontaine's right there with the smiley face.
What's up, G? I'll see you tomorrow, G.
Yeah, there you go, man. You got a lot of fans. You earned Every one of them, man. You certainly are deserved of that Oregon Music Hall of Fame honor. And um, I want you to know how much I think of you. I'm so grateful to get a little time with you, even if I only got to see you half the time, right?
Right.
But no,
I'm,
that's
and that's buying this old gear, man. Instead of just spending some real money and just got some proper stuff.
well, you know what? When the pandemic's done, my plan is just to take the show live when we're at shows. So you and I are going to be kicking it backstage at one of these gigs, and we'll just do
All
this in
right.
person. All right?
Cool.
Man. So listen, guys, if you're watching this, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I got the link right down below. You go to youtube.com/allaccesslive with Kevin Rankin. I'll have this archived in about 10 minutes at accesskevin.com. You can see all the guests that I've had in the past. Man, you know, Brian, I got quite a range of drummers, man. I've had cats that you might appreciate, but we're only I'm only 11 months into this thing, and I've got a lifetime of stuff to go. So I'm looking forward to getting the rest of our Portland drummers in there. Tyrone, check your Facebook messages, man. You've got months old messages from me. So let's do this together. And Brian Foxworth, my man, I'm grateful to have you here. Thank you so much. And thank you guys
all y'all. And just to let all y'all know, whoever cooking some ribs, I'm totally open. I'm gonna free my schedule up. Hook a brother up.
Where's the best ribs in town? Who's got the best ribs in town?
Man, I'm gonna have to say my cousin, man. My cousin Ed. He makes some ribs so good to make you want to slap somebody. I'm telling you.
If I'm gonna go out and buy some, where's the best place to buy ribs?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Famous Dave.
All right. Okay.
I dig Famous Dave, but Maurice Fame. He's over off of Mississippi Street and Fremont.
Okay.
That's one of my mother's favorite spots because he from Mississippi too. He cooked that catfish and man, you talking about some good soul food.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Fame. They call him Fame.
Really? Okay. And what's the name of the venue?
Southern Kitchen.
All right. You got that. Now, Bobby Pilata says he's taking you out for ribs. All right, so he's the first taker. There you go. You're in.
Bobby, I want that green side dish too.
Oh yeah. Also, we got collard greens and we got some black-eyed peas. Yeah. Man,
that was in my baby bottle. I know
that. That is awesome. B Fox, I love you, man. Thank you so much,
bro. Thank you, Kevin, man. You're the ultimate, bro. I appreciate it. I'm honored.
Thank you. And everybody else, thanks again. I'll be back tomorrow noon with Dolly Parton's sister, Stella Parton will be here. So subscribe to the channel. Come back and hang out with me. Tyrone says Southern Kitchen. Yes. All right, Tyrone. You can tell me when you come on the show. Let's book it. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, homie. Talk to you later, guys.
Take care.